Well, you might argue, and persuasively so, the campaign season never really ends. But today, the day after Labor Day, typically marks the official kickoff to election season. We're only 9 weeks away from the all-important midterms. Will the Democrats continue to hold all the power, or will Republicans seize some of it, taking either the House or the Senate, or both? One thing is clear, it's high stakes. It will determine your future. And according to several publications, Republican momentum is slowing, especially the Senate, where Democrats could maintain control. It was once thought Republicans could sweep the midterm elections, but as Politico puts it, quote, Dems erase GOP's Senate advantage. And a recent piece in U.S. Today had this to say, quote, control of the Senate is now a coin flip. Meanwhile, in the Senate, one powerful Republican lawmaker is criticizing members of his own party who have spoken out against other GOP candidates. In an op-ed published in the Washington Examiner, Florida Senator Rick Scott said, quote, it is an amazing act of cowardice and ultimately it is treasonous to the conservative cause. Giving anonymous quotes to help the Washington Post or the New York Times write stories trashing Republicans is the same as working with the Democratic National Committee. His op-ed comes after some GOP members have suggested that some of the candidates the National Republican Senatorial Committee endorsed are weak. Scott is the chair of the NRSC. And a few weeks ago, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell came under fire for his statements that suggested Republicans may not win back the majority in the Senate this November. While Scott did not name names in his op-ed, he did say, quote, if you want to trash talk our candidates to help the Democrats, pipe down. That is not what leaders do. Earlier, I spoke with Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott. Senator, nice to talk to you again, sir.
It's always great to speak with you, Greta.
Senator, you had an op-ed, which I think the word I would describe it as sort of blistering for those who are sort of naysayers within your party about the outcome of the midterms. We have anything more to add to that?
Well, I mean, it's clear. I'm the chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. My job is to help our candidates win. We actually have great candidates, great backgrounds that have gone through the primaries. I'm going to do everything I can to help them win. There's some people that think our candidate's not as great. I think we've got great candidates. Now we got to raise more money, but I believe we're going to get a majority in November, and you do it by supporting the team, making sure your team wins by helping them raise their money, run good races, and we got to get a majority so we can stop some of the crazy ideas that the Biden administration and Democrats have been doing.
Well, I've got sort of a gripe. It has to do with journalism, and it applies to both Democrats and Republicans. And you raise it in your op-ed about you talk about the anonymous swipes, basically, at fellow Republicans. I take a swipe at the journalism that we're so willing to take anonymous swipes and print them rather than make people go on the record so we can find out who's talking. It's not a matter of national security. It's usually just a personal swipe.
I think it's wrong. I think if you want to give a quote, then you ought to be able to defend it. And so because people ask me about things, say anonymously. I don't know who it is. I don't know what the context was. So I don't want to participate in that. I do know that when you anonymously give quotes to a liberal outlet and you say you're Republican and you trash our Republican candidates, you're hurting their ability to win. So I don't think that's helping our candidates at all. It's not helping the Republican Party or Republican candidates or the conservative cause. And I think it's wrong.
I also think that it amounts to pure gossip from my perspective, and I don't think it makes journalists look very good when we are receptacles of gossip and just spread it. But anyway, that's just me. All right, let me turn now to some of your tweets. You said 3 days ago that the IRS is completely incompetent. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, first off, let's look at the numbers. You call the IRS and very few people get through to answer the phone. They haven't done a great job of updating their technology. And no one feels, I mean, here's what's happened, I think, with a lot of federal agencies, Greta. A lot of people think they've not done a great job of representing, or helping citizens around the country. That's number one, which the IRS has a reputation for that. Number two, they have a reputation for being overbearing. And number three, they haven't updated their technology to make it easier. And we saw them, target conservative groups and Tea Party groups. And so a lot of people think a lot of our federal agencies have become politicized, and that's wrong. The federal government, the executive branch of the federal government, is not supposed to be a political machine. It's supposed to provide the services that Congress pays for with your tax dollars. It's not supposed to be a political animal. We're supposed to be a country of laws, not of people, which means that it shouldn't matter who the president is. We should enforce all the laws the exact same way. The same thing I think about the judiciary. The judiciary should be blind justice. It shouldn't say, oh, is that a conservative or a liberal judge? No, you're a judge. You enforce the law that's written. You don't get to make new law.
All right. If you should be right and the Republicans do win the majority in November, what, if anything, would you do about the IRS come January, realistically?
Well, first thing we need to do is we need to defund this 87,000 new agents. That's number one. Number two is we have to have higher expectations for all of our federal agencies, including the IRS. I.e., number one, you're going to start answering your phone. Number two, you're going to upgrade your technology to where you make it easier for people to work with you, and you're not manually putting in information. It seems like they did that 30 and 40, 50 years ago. You shouldn't be doing that now. So I think we've got to expect all of our agencies to be more efficient. We should need less people as our agencies get more efficient. When you're building a company, and I build companies, you try to make your corporate office more efficient. You try to make everything you do more efficient, right? Through technology, through automation. And so you don't need as many people. Well, we've got to think about that the same way with the federal government. We should be able to provide more services for less cost to more people as we implement, better, best practices, better technology, things like that. Up here, the idea is we need to just keep funding more money with no expectation of things getting better.
I read in the last 24 hours that you have been singled out by Moscow for sanctions, that you are now on the sanctions list. Why were you sanctioned, and does it have any impact on you whatsoever?
Well, first off, it has no impact on me. As you know, I think the governments of Russia and China and Iran and Cuba and Venezuela and Nicaragua and North Korea are despicable. I think they're horrible for the citizens of those countries and for the world community. But in the case of Russia, what they're doing is just disgusting, killing little children and moms, innocent people, indiscriminately, and now trying to hold up Europe over gas supplies. I mean, this is a despicable government. And I mean, where Putin ought to be is he should be in prison for the rest of his life for war crimes. That's what this guy has done. So, look, if they want to sanction me, sanction me. It doesn't impact my life at all. I didn't plan on taking any trips to Moscow anytime soon. I doubt that I'll go to Moscow in my lifetime. I hope someday they get a government that respects people and respects individual rights. But right now, the Putin administration, the Putin government is a despicable government, and he needs to be in prison.
Are China and Russia creeping into our hemisphere? I mean, in a sense, like South America doing a lot of investments there, and in Central America, and we've got drugs coming from China into Mexico, into the United States. Is there sort of almost a quiet war that's being waged on us?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at when you have a president, which President Biden has done, he's sort of forgotten about Latin America. Let's go through the countries. There's 1,300 peaceful protesters, some of them as young as 14 years old, that are in prison for peaceful protesting. Biden won't say a word about it. You look at, we have a new extreme socialist in Colombia, a great ally. Biden, doesn't say anything about it. You look at what Maduro's doing. Biden says nothing. You look at Ortega, targeting the Catholic Church. Biden says nothing. Well, when you do this, when you're not the leader of the free world because you don't say anything about it, guess what happens? The bad guys show up. The bad guys are showing up. Russia's showing up. China's showing up. And they're buying favors right now. And so America's got to start standing up for freedom in Latin America. We should have all of Latin America should be our allies. We're in this together. We love the people of Latin America. We want them to have this. We should want them to have the same freedoms and liberties we have. But it starts with a president that shows up and starts calling out these dictators for their dastardly deeds.
Senator, nice to talk to you, sir. Hope you come back.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. September is historically the worst performing month for the stock market, so you better be ready for it. The Fed continues to aggressively raise rates, and JP Morgan is forecasting another mega rate hike September the 21st. Is that why Jamie Dimon said an economic hurricane is coming our way? Well, gold and silver have remained remarkably stable despite the Fed aggressively raising rates today. The Patriot Gold Group has a special incentive for Newsmax viewers. Huge! Now precious metals investors can enjoy the no-fee-for-life gold and silver IRA on qualifying rollovers, or enjoy free, discreet, insured shipping on all direct gold and silver purchases. Here's the number, 800-356-4470. Call 800-356-4470 today.